So file dialogs are the file explorers which allows us to either save the file or open existing file. So there are basically three types of file dialogs. Mainly that we are using is the file dialog that is in the center of this one. Rest two are not used in all the applications. So let's go ahead and explore all of them one by one. First of all, we will start with the simple dialog. So simple dialog widget displays input box with OK and cancel button, mostly used to capture the quick user response. So here you can see that there is a OK and cancel button. User can also provide a title to the window, and here there is a message and the entry widget. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this one. And also for this thing we are going to show you how actually we learn things. So we will be using the official document. So here is the official document. I have dropped the link inside the PDF file associated with this video. So in this document you can see that we have first option is simple dialog, and simple dialog has three options which says ask float, ask integer and ask string. So that means if you have chosen a float or integer, then you won't be able to put in the string values inside it. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this. I have my VS Code editor over here. So if I'll just first of all I have to import this simple file dialog. So I'll write from Tkinter import simple file dialog, and then I can use this code from here. I need to provide a title. So what will be the title of that window? So let's say BMI and prompt. So whatever the message that you want to display over there, that you can mention over here. So let's say enter your height. Now pay attention on this thing. Since we are asking for ask float, that means only float values are allowed to input inside it. Or you can also provide the integer values, but that will be treated as a float value. Now you can see that there is a small box and it has a title on it that we have provided over here, and the prompt and message that we are showing over here. So you can type, let's say 14 here. If I click on OK, it will disappear. You can capture this information, so we can provide a variable to it so that we can capture the response, and after that we can use this response to perform further tasks. For now, let me print that response. So let's say you have captured the height and weight, and then in the next function you can just print out the BMI. So height. Now let's try to enter some string values to it. So let me go ahead and type some string value. Now you can see that there is a message box also associated with this one which says not a floating point value, please try again. So we have to enter the floating value only. 10.1 accepted. Now you can see that on the terminal the value is printed because we have captured this value over here and then printed it. Similar thing can be done using the integer values and string values. So let me show you. Now if I will run the application, it will ask for my height. So let's say 180 centimeter. Then it will ask for my weight, let's say 80 kg. And now it is asking for my name. So I'll just give it name. Now on the terminal you can see that all the information has been displayed. So in this way we can use the simple dialog box to create our application. Next is File Dialog Widget. File Dialog Widget opens a file explorer and allows the user to either open or save the file on the computer. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this thing. It has also we need to see the documentation for this one. So it is basically used to load and save the dialogs, and it has these many options over here. Parent is the container window. So like in our case it will be WS. Then title. So whatever the title that you want to provide on this Explorer window. Let's say we have opened this Explorer, and here you can see that it is the title of this Explorer is this PC. initial directory is the directory. Every time we are going to run that application, what default directory that will appear. For in this case, let's say if we have set it to this PC, that's why it is appearing over here. If I'll set it to desktop, then every time I will start the application and I will click on that button, that will trigger that function that will open the file directory. Then directory will be desktop by default. Now initial file, so you can also make selections according to the file. So let me explain you how you can do that. So in this paint, if I just go ahead and click on file over here and I click on open. Now let's say this directory has been opened by default. So in this directory will be called as an initial directory, and from here we have options over here, these extensions. So if you want to set a particular extension in that, then you have to select this option which says default extension, and you have to mention the name of that extension. Inside file types there will be names, labels and patterns. So file name and the extension that you want to use. Let's say there is a pattern, you can see that GIF, and then there is a wildcard sign which says *.gif. That thing can be done using that. Also we have option for multiple. If it is set to true, that means user will be able to select multiple files at one time. So here you can see that I am not able to select multiple files. It works if you will hold the shift key and then you will try to select other things. Since multiple is false, that's why I am not able to make multiple selections over here. So in this way we can do that. So let's see the functions available in this. So while dialog dot ask file open. So this function will help us to open the file, and the file will be opened in the read only mode. After that we have save as. If you want to save the file, it will be going under write mode. That's why we are going to write on the application. Similarly, we can do all of these. All of them are same. If I'll show you one, you can perform the same thing on all of them. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, I'm going to create a window. Now, in order to create a file dialog box, I have to first import file dialogs. Tkinter import file dialog, and then I have to use the file dialog. So let me go ahead and create one button as well that will trigger the function that will open the file. So first of all, I am going to create it for the open file. So I will write file dialog dot. Now I have these many options over here. So I'll just use open file, and the initial directory that I want to provide is, okay, first of all, where I want to place it, I want to place it on WS, and then initial directory will be, let's give it a documents. So title I want to give it as file file explorer Python. Now let's go ahead and save this one. Also, since we have not created this function, so let me go ahead and now we have two buttons, open file and save file. Let me click on open file. Now here you can see that document is the initial directory, that's why it has opened inside this. Other than that, you can see there is nothing, but now I will give some file types over here, so that will also appear. So only that files will start appearing. Let's say we will give it for text files, so only text files will be appearing over here. So if you want to restrict it to a specific file, you can use it. You can use the option file types. So let's say file types. It accepts a tuple of options. So here you can see that there is a suggestion. So what I have to do, I have to create another tuple inside this tuple, and here I have to mention what text I want to display over there. So let's say Python files, and then what extension I want to display. So all the files, we will use wildcard over here, all the files with .py extension we want to capture. Let's say I want another type of file as well. Let's say I want text files as well. So I will just say text files and then their extension with the wildcard .txt. Save the application, run it, click on open. Now you can see that I have additional menu over here, a drop down where I can select whether it will be a text file or a Python file. So here you can see that right now the text file is appearing. See, folders will appear, that is not a problem, but the files won't appear. So here you can see text file is appearing because we have selected it to a text file. The moment we will select it to a Python file, the text file will disappear. So to understand this better, we have created this testing dialog folder, and inside this we are going to create two files. One is for text file and another one is for Python file. So let me go ahead and create it real quick. So now we have two files over here. Now let's go ahead and try that. So open file, and inside that we are going inside testing dialog, and here you can see that since Python file is selected, that's why only Python files are being displayed. Since there is only one file, that's why only one file is displayed. If I select text files, then text file will be displayed. So in this way we can just go ahead and open any file, a specific file. Now it is asking that you must have to provide a mode as well. So we have to provide mode. So mode will be, since we want to open it, so read mode will work over here. Okay, so let's try again. One thing more guys, I have added a mode equals to read and I have removed the WS. We don't require WS over here. It will automatically be, it's an independent function, so it will appear automatically. So the moment I have clicked on open file, now I have a file. I'll just go testing dialog which I have created. Inside this I have created two files. So first is the Python file, and the moment I switch to text files, only text file will appear. So that's how you can do that. The moment you will click on select this file and click on open, the information should be displayed over here, but since the file is empty, that's why no information is being displayed. So let's go ahead and write something inside the file. To display the information, first of all we have assigned it inside a variable, and then we have printed that variable. Now click on open, navigate to the folder, select the text file or any other file that you want to select, click on open. Now you can see the information has been displayed, but it's not human readable. So in order to read, we have to use this read function. So I've added res.read bracket open close. Then I am going to run this application once again. Navigate to the folder. Now here you can see that on the text, there is a text on the terminal. So this is how you can open any file, and same thing can be repeated in case of saving the file. Also, one last option that I want to show you is multiple. See, now I can open two files in one go. Okay, that's an error is a different thing, but I can open two files. If I'll set it to false, now I am not able to do that. I am able to select only one file at a time. So this is what you can do using this multiple option over here. Same thing can be done in case of saving a file. We can copy this entire thing and create a new function. Now in case of mode, we have to write it, we have to use write mode, and we want to save it inside a text. Testing. This way, so we have to call this function save file. Now we can just name the file as let's say app.py. Okay, also we have to change this function as well. That's why it was showing open there. So open save as file. Okay, seems like somewhere error has been appeared. Let's go ahead and read the error. So in this it is showing that multiple is a bad option, so we have to remove multiple. That means since anytime we are going to save a file, it's only the first one file that we are saving. That's why multiple plays no role over here. Default extension could be, let's give it a default extension as .py, *.py. Now let's type the name of the file. So even if I will not provide any extension, the default extension will be accepted as .py. So the file must have been saved. Here you can see that app.py has been saved. So in this way you can open and save files. There are lots of options available here. You can try and explore them, but all of them will work in the same way that we have done right now. Also, we don't need the thing over here. In this way we have learned about file dialog widget. Our last widget in file dialog was the common widget, and let me show you how you can do that. So this is the last widget that we can create. So we have a class to create. First of all we have to create an object, and then using this show we can do that. So let's go ahead and try this. So here only I'll create new button for common one as well. This is common. And we have to type first of all we have to create a class. Also we need to import it. So as the documentation says, we have to create a class which says common. Also guys, the name of this thing is similar to the function name, so I'll just change it a little bit. Common dialog. So it will be common dialog. So this is a class name, and we have to create a object for this. So let's give it the name of the object. So let's name our object as CD. Now using that CD, we are going to create show, and you can provide color equals to red. Okay, I need to change the name of the function as well. Common dialog. So it generally opens the common dialog box. Then you can use this one. This is rarely used. So with this we have completed our file dialog section.